Learning a language is a lot simpler than you think. In today's video, I'm going to show you literally the easiest, most effective, and just best way to learn languages step by step. And the best part is you can literally implement it from today. It's so easy. You could literally learn while scrolling. It allowed me to learn 5 languages within like 4 years, go around traveling, speaking with natives, all self-study 100% for free. And I did all of that just by changing this one little thing in my life, implementing this method and not really sacrificing anything, you know, like I still had a social life, I'm still getting good grades in school, pretty much all A's, like even during like the most stressful exam periods, like I'm leading up to A levels now, even during GCSEs, you know, I was just learning Japanese. And it's all because of this immersion method or immersing. Some of you might even actually use this method already because I guarantee you anybody you know who is actually fluent or has gone fluent in any language has used this method, because I'm telling you guys, it's literally just the way that our brains are meant to pick up languages. And they might have even used it, or you might even be using it without even realizing. But today I'll be giving you actionable steps so that you can make sure you're doing it and putting it into practice. If you watch until the end of the video, I guarantee that you will learn a language quicker, more efficiently, and just have more fun with it as well. Like it'll be easier and everything. You'll be able to do it in less time while still actually enjoying your life. And if you want one-to-one support, detailed routines, and just videos going over this in more detail, make sure to check the link in the description and join the community. The price is going up as soon as we hit 40 members, so make sure you don't miss out. But anyways, learning a language is a little bit hard. It takes a while, but it's not complicated. So let's just get straight into it. I'll be breaking it into 3 parts. So we'll go over what actually is the immersion method, why is it useful or better than other things, like what are the benefits of it, and then of course how to implement it and how to do it correctly, some bonus tips and just questions I get a lot of the time because I know a lot of you guys don't really understand how it works. So firstly, what actually is the immersion method? Essentially, it is just surrounding yourself with the language as much as possible. So as you can see, I got here things like YouTube, TV, TikTok, podcasts, audio courses, which I really recommend you should spend the most of your time if you're a beginner on, and just listening to the language as much as possible. Ideally, stay away from books at the beginning, but you literally just want to expose yourself to the language as much as possible. Ideally, constant exposure is good, but that's like super extreme, and I've never even done that. But like even just upwards of 30 minutes to an hour a day is enough to see results. It's almost kind of like you're simulating being a country. You know, people always say going to the country is the best way to learn a language. So it's very similar to that, except of course you're just doing it at home. But some even argue that it's actually more effective than being in the country doing this immersion method, because you got constant access to content, whereas if you're in the country, you got to find people to speak to and loads of other factors. But the main component is listening to the language as much as possible. It's quite similar to how we did it as babies, but some of you might be thinking, but I'm not a baby anymore. How am I supposed to just watch stuff and then pick up a language? How is it going to lead up to that? And that's where your adult brain comes in, your developed brain, and you can actually leverage this to speed up the process and actually get yourself to a level where you can start watching this stuff. So a great way to do this, of course, is with apps. For example, something like Busuu. The way Busuu structures their courses actually really supports the early stages of immersion, because as I said, if you want immersion to work, you need that solid base, otherwise it's just noise. On Busuu, the course structure is designed by experts, so you're not spending 3 months learning irrelevant stuff. And actually, it's so important in order to get over this first hurdle here. Without Busuu, as you can see, you've got a huge lack of understanding. And even if you start watching cartoons when you're immersing, you're all the way down here, so you're not really going to understand it. With Busuu, it's going to allow you to just take those small steps up, get that basis, and then once you're here, you can start immersing and it's just going to go a lot smoother. It's great for pre-immersion because you learn the high frequency words and you can actually practice with real native speakers in the app, which means that you get exposed to the language that people are actually using before you jump into Netflix, TikTok, etc. Also, your adult brain loves feedback loops. So when you speak or write something, Busuu's AI tools immediately correct you so you don't fossilize some bad habits. That's what makes it so practical. It gets you up to that level where you can really start immersing quickly. And because the lessons are like 10-minute chunks, it's bite-sized and it fits busy schedules. So even if you are a busy person, you can easily fit this in. It doesn't disrupt your life and you can stack it onto other things really easily. And you can start completely for free with the freemium model, so there's no barrier at all. Sign up for Busuu today and enjoy a 7-day premium free trial with the link in the description below. So the point is, once you use something like Busuu to establish that tiny little map in your brain to see kind of where you're going, your brain kind of realizes, oh, immersion isn't just chaos, it's not just noise, and you can really start to understand what you're listening and you just build up and up from there. That's when immersion becomes addictive and you just snowball. Other things that you really need to be doing in order to get that base level in order to really understand the things that you are going to be immersing in is to work your way up. So please make sure you're starting with easy stuff. So it's going to be things like cartoons. I would watch Peppa Pig like every day recently when I started learning Portuguese. I did the same for French. Cartoons, try vary it, of course, find stuff that's interesting. At the beginning, obviously that's kind of hard. That's the kind of stuff you need to be watching. Audio courses, super important. Right now I'm really into podcasts for Portuguese. Every day on my way to school, I'll listen to a podcast. Music counts as immersion. It's very good, but do not rely on this. It's not a very good way to actually learn the language. I do just want to put that out there. Music is good to just expose yourself, but you won't really learn much from music unless you really dissect the lyrics. But yeah, make sure it's going from easy to hard. You're almost growing up with the language. You know how I mentioned about being a baby earlier. So yeah, just start easy and go hard. That combined with having an app like Busuu or whatever it is to kind of give you that base in the language to then start immersing or doing it at the same time is really just going to help you just skyrocket your progress. And so then why is immersion method actually better than all this other stuff? What's so good about it? So important when it comes to trying to be consistent in anything is having it be fun and easy, and immersion just encapsulates this perfectly. Like literally, I know I just mentioned things like Peppa Pig and whatever, but after like a month or 2 months, depending on what language you're learning, like for me with Portuguese, within like 2-3 weeks, I stopped with the audio course. I stopped with all the cartoons, and I just started watching YouTubers. I started watching a series called 3%. It was so good. I liked it so much. I just finished it the other day and then got me a little bit emotional. But like you can just watch whatever you want, stuff that interests you. I literally started watching Netflix after 3 weeks, and I just got to literally put Netflix on TV and I get to enjoy what I'm watching. Like I started watching Suits, dubbed in Portuguese. Like it's a great show, and I get to learn a language whilst just watching something interesting. Like I can literally go on TikTok now. I can change my TikTok language to Portuguese or start showing me Portuguese videos like all the Portuguese ones. Now, anytime where I even start doom scrolling, I'm gonna be watching in Portuguese. We'll get into that in a second on how to like implement it into your daily life. But yeah, also one great thing is that it's relevant. So obviously the videos you pick, if you want to speak like a young person, you can just pick videos of young people talking, like young YouTubers, etc. If you want to speak more eloquently, maybe you'd read the news more, you'd watch more news channels, etc. So it really just depends on your goals. You get to pick what you want. It's a lot more accurate than textbooks. Like I just said, you're going to actually see how people really speak, because these are just videos people have put onto the internet a lot of the time for other native speakers, you know, so it's not going to be some unnatural stuff. It's also free, which again, like you don't need to pay like a dime to learn a language. I literally don't. Just one of the great parts about it, and you can do it whenever, and you develop a very good accent. For Japanese, I put like no effort. This is the first language I learned. I put like no effort to learn the accent, but I ended up with a really good one anyways somehow. Like at my prime, because I haven't been studying it that much recently, so I might have fell off a little bit. At my prime, I would get mistaken for a native speaker every now and then, as you might see in my other videos. And I put shadowing here as well, which essentially is just mimicking how native speakers talk. So as soon as they say something, you say after them, and that also really helps to get that muscle memory and the accents. Obviously, you're trying to imitate them to your best ability. So now, how do you actually implement this so-called immersion method? Everything that we've gone through today, how you can get all those benefits from it and make sure you're not making any mistakes. So the main ways you implement it is actually super easy. Like I said, you can do it from today. Go on YouTube, look up Portuguese YouTubers, or look up the kind of genre of videos you like, and just translate it to Portuguese. Go ChatGPT. Say if you like watching horror videos, horror games, say ChatGPT, how do I search for horror YouTubers in Portuguese? It'll give you the answer. You just do that for whatever thing you like. Do that on YouTube, do on TikTok. Maybe you find some TV shows, podcasts. Make sure you find some podcasts you can just listen to it whilst you're traveling. I do that all the time. And then audio courses are really good as well, of course. If you stuck around till this far in the video, here are some examples of things you can watch for Japanese, French, Spanish, and Portuguese. So obviously I can't do every language. These are just the ones that I've learned. But if you are learning a language that's not on here, then maybe you could use these as examples, so you can kind of just reference what kind of stuff you should be looking for, whether it's podcasts, YouTube, TV shows, etc. And if you want the full list for these languages, check out the community, because we have the whole resource library in there with all this stuff in detail. So definitely check it out. And then, as you mentioned earlier, make sure that you're implementing a tool like Busuu to get you that basis. Doom scrolling, as we've mentioned, again, is a super good way to implement it, because this makes sure that even when you're at your lowest points, you're still going to be learning a bit of the language. The interactive subtitles are also unbelievably useful, so definitely make sure you're using one of those extensions. And then comprehensible input, we kind of touched on it already. It's that notion of going from easy and then hard, which is super, super important, because it just makes sure that you don't burn out, you don't lose motivation because you're like, oh, I don't understand anything. So start with cartoons, then go to more intermediate stuff, maybe still for learners. And then after a while, you can just watch interesting stuff. That's the best part about it. From that point on, I promise you there's almost like no resistance. And then one question I get quite a lot is, what if I don't understand anything? And the answer is, you literally won't, but it's totally normal, especially at the beginning. I promise you it's so hard, especially if you're picking a language like Japanese. Really, really quite tricky. But I promise you the only remedy is literally consistency, and maybe just put a little bit more time towards audio courses, or maybe just put some more time towards the app or tool that's going to allow you to get that basis in the language. And that way you understand more of what you're going in and doing. I'd recommend at least an hour a day. 30 minutes, I guess, is possible. And with this, I can guarantee you get some really good results. Implement some other things, some supplements to help you make some more progress, and I guarantee this will work so well. If you're unsure on any of this, or you still have any questions on how to implement it correctly, etc., check out the community. The link's in the description or in my bio. We'll go through all of this together. There's videos that go through it in even more detail. We can hop on a call and talk about it, etc. But anyways, to round off the video, to give you guys just a quick summary and some actionable steps you can implement today. Immersion method is basically just listening to the language and exposing yourself to it as much as possible, at least an hour a day. Make sure you use a tool to get that base level so you can start understanding what you're watching. Go from easy stuff to hard, which is the same thing as comprehensible input. Use interactive subtitles to help you. Make sure you change your TikTok to the target language, just to make sure that no matter what you're doing, you're basically always going to be studying. And consistency is key to make sure you get over that first hurdle at the start. It's going to be pretty hard to understand, but things like interactive subtitles will really help. Other than that, give it a go. Get started today. Find a YouTube channel or a TV show or a cartoon that you want to learn, that you want to watch in your target language, and do that for 30 minutes. And personally, I don't take notes when I watch this stuff. But yeah, just go out there, find something, explore, try and find a variation of lots of different things. So whether it's podcast, YouTube, TV, and then once you pick some platforms, make sure you find lots of different genres, different stuff, different people talking, so you can really just get a idea of what the language is like. And at the start, the right mentality to have is to literally just expose yourself to the language, because you won't understand anything. Like, you won't for the first little bit. You might hear like one or two words that you know. So literally just think of it as exposing yourself to how the language sounds. You're letting your brain kind of get used to it. It's just the first steps. And then I promise you, after a while, you'll see the progress comes so quickly. So get started. Comment down below what language you're learning and any questions, and I'll always do my best to respond. See you in the next one.